Hello and welcome to a bonus episode of YABasic, the podcast where we talk about YA fantasy and avoid our adult responsibilities. I'm one of your hosts, Dani, and I am an official simp for Nikolai Lansov.
And I'm your other host, Leigh, and I feel like I would just get addicted to Jada Param. The power's too much. Spoiler warning for this episode, we are going to talk in depth about the Grishaverse series, so if you haven't read up until King of Scars and don't want to be spoiled, we advise you not to listen to this episode, but hang around for all the good stuff we've got in store, and we hope you enjoyed this episode.
So, I feel like me and Deadly have been working ourselves up to talk about the Grishaverse for so long now.
Yeah.
Deadly's quite new to the fandom, so
Yeah,
it's going to be really fresh.
Really new. I hold my hand up. I have been sleeping on this series way too much. Dani recommended it to me ages ago, and I only started it late last year. But I've kind of motored my way through all the books now.
I am
obsessed.
impressed with how quickly that you got through them, to be honest, Deadly.
I mean,
It's
once
very
you
impressive.
introduced me to Nikolai Lansov, there's no going back.
See, I mean, yeah, exactly. He just does it for everyone, I think. And if you don't like Nikolai, really,
What are you
I
doing
feel like
here?
I feel like there might be some people on here who are just listening to the podcast because they like our podcast, hopefully, and they haven't read books. So maybe we should explain what
Yeah.
Grishaverse is.
Okay, so as someone who's quite new to it, I kind of have it fresh in my brain. So the Grishaverse is kind of like an expanded universe and series where there are people who are born with kind of powers in them, and they're kind of based off the elements. They call it the small science, and you can be tested at a young age and kind of be drafted into military or or run away, not kind of. And it's kind of the Grishaverse series follows normal people and Grisha in this world and how the world adapts to it and what happens, and it's really interesting.
Yeah, it takes place in a completely made-up universe, as a lot of YA fantasy does, of course.
Yeah.
It's like kind of a class system, so you've got Grisha and then people that aren't Grisha, mortals, I guess you could... Well, mortals, is that the right word?
Yeah. Oskazatsia.
Mundanes.
Normies.
Yeah, and it just... The Grishaverse just explores different characters' lives and how they live within this world. And yeah, it's inspired by Russian lore.
Yeah, Russian folklore. You can really kind of tell it feels very Russian in the way it's been researched and the way it kind of tells the stories, which is really fantastic.
Yeah, and the way things are described, like the architecture and stuff, it just screams Russia. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if that was a good explanation of what it was.
It's so tricky to actually. We don't even have to mind about spoilers, but because we have done a spoiler warning for this episode, but It's probably easiest for us to go kind of story by story and talk through it, because the original story, which is the Shadow and Bone trilogy, kind of sets up the world that we then explore.
Yeah, so we've got 3 separate series within the Grishaverse. You've got the Shadow and Bone trilogy, which consists of Shadow and Bone, Siege and Storm, and
Ruin and Rising.
Then we go on to the very famous Six of
Incredible.
Crows duology. So that starts with Six of Crows and is followed by Crooked Kingdom. And then we go on to I have no idea what the third series is called.
I just
King of Scars duology?
Yeah, King of Scars duology.
Yeah, sorry, because sometimes obviously YA books have like
Titles.
like obviously like Cassie's books have the Mortal Instruments, the Infernal Devices, and then they have the separate names, but I guess these don't. You know, if we're wrong, please do let us know. But yes, the last duology is the King of Scars duology. That consists of King of Scars and then Ruin and Wolves. Ruin of Wolves?
Ruin of Wolves, which I keep forgetting that name anyway. So.
I know, because it's not out yet, but that is coming out earlier this year. So we are very looking forward to that. So yeah, should we start from the first series, the Shadow and Bone trilogy?
Yeah, so I kind of... Dani prefaced me going into Shadow and Bone. She was like, it's very classic YA, and she was like, but you need to get through it to get to the stuff that's really groundbreaking.
Yeah, I always was honest with Deadly, and I said, you know what? The Shadow and Bone trilogy is not my favourite. It is not my favourite, but I knew that it would be worth it to get through those books to get to the rest of the series. And you know what? Like you said, it's basic YA. It is, and I think Leigh was just starting out her writing. You know what? That could be a lie as well, but I get the impression that she was starting her YA fantasy writing journey.
Yeah.
And definitely the journey of this universe. So it was a lot of world building, which is sometimes very hard to read.
Yeah.
Especially, yeah, we all know if you're a well-seasoned YA fantasy reader, you know how hard it is to read fantasy world building. It can be exhausting. But yeah, I did feel, I'm not gonna lie, I did feel like that when I was reading those first 3 books, and I'm not upset to admit that. Like, sometimes not every single book in a series is perfect, but that doesn't mean it's not good.
No, completely. And I think actually, now that I've read them all, I appreciate the original series just for their characters alone. Like,
Absolutely.
the side characters, the way that they have staying power and have evolved is really fantastic.
Yeah. So obviously, if you've read the Shadow and Bone trilogy, you will know that the first 3 books are focused on Alina Starkov.
Starkov, yeah.
Yes, Alina Starkov and her friend Mal. Gross. We don't stand Mal in this house.
Straight off the bat, we're just gonna say we don't like Mal.
Team YABasic are not Team Mal.
Which I think is probably why we had to slog through those books, because it's so much Mal.
He made it a struggle.
He really
His character
does.
alone.
Yeah, we're gonna get into the Mal stuff in a bit. But yeah, it follows those 2 and then the Darkling.
Yes,
who is the love of my life.
Yes, well, we'll go into that because that can be quite a controversial subject, but we will go into him. But yes, it follows Alina and her journey to discovering that she is Grisha and how to deal with these powers and the responsibility that comes with her powers, her very, very strong powers. It takes place over 3 books. We meet a lot of different characters along the way. Yeah. Well, so I think we should talk about the things that we liked and disliked about the series.
Yeah. I mean, I've already mentioned the Darkling. Hello, I love the Darkling.
The Darkling is a like, yes?
Yeah, he is like a classic villain. Well, I mean, yeah, I keep forgetting that we can spoil, because obviously it's revealed halfway through the first book that he is a villain, and that shook me, because I was like, I love him, and then...
to begin with, Leigh really just lulled us into a false sense of security with the Darkling. Like, we never heard about him, we never saw him. Well, we did hear about him, we heard about him constantly, but we never saw him, and he was made out to be this fantastic... almost scary, like feared Grisha, who was crazy powerful, who was just, there was no one that came close to his powers, and we were just, the anticipation of finally seeing this character was sky high, I think, for everyone. And so when we did finally meet him, properly met him, when obviously they found out that Alina was
Sun Summoner.
Grisha.
Yeah.
Yes, Sun Summoner on the, what was it called? What is the thing
fold.
called? The fold, yes, when they're on the fold, and then she went and had to go back to see, we've really done the research.
We really have.
Sorry.
Oz Alta. She went to Oz Alta.
Yes, Oz Alta. I will remind you, it has been over a year since I read these books. I cannot remember
I'm the current kind of, it's freshest in my mind, so if Dani forgets any details, I'm going to try and jump in. But yeah.
Yeah, don't call me a fake fan. I do know my stuff most of the time. I just have a bad memory.
And with YA, there's so many fancy names and cities and things. We can't remember them all.
Yeah, give me some credit. But Yeah, so when they go to Oz Altar and we see his like we like, not only do we see how powerful he is, but like his charm, he just oozes charm, and like Alina describes him as being like beautiful, and I just knew that I was a goner. I knew when they were in that carriage, and I was like, wow, I'm a goner.
Honestly. Oh.
And then he came round and stabbed me in the heart. He stabbed me through the heart with a massive knife and decided to be evil. And you know, I don't know, like, I like to think of myself as a good person. The good person in me went, oh my God, I cannot forgive you for this. But then the bad, I don't know, like I have obviously some bad in me that I didn't realise, because that part of me just came out and was like, no, you still love him.
Literally.
You still love him. You're obsessed with him. And I was like, true.
I mean, we know I love a bad guy anyway.
Yeah, and that never happens to me, but it always happens to you.
Completely, always. So the minute I liked him, I was like, oh, I'm doomed. And then when Barbara tells Alina, I was like, it all makes complete sense. But I was still so shook because obviously he's so charming and just really disarms you.
When Bagra was like, haha, that's my son. Also,
oh my gosh.
He was the Darkling from before, and the Darkling before that. The man's old.
He made the fold, like, oh my gosh.
He ripped the earth at its seams. That's how strong he was. He ripped his seams.
Yeah, he literally, like, broke the laws of magic. Oh my God.
He broke the laws of nature to make the fold. That's how powerful he is.
It's so
And
good.
Alina went, oh. But, like, I think we discussed this when we were planning the podcast. We were talking, and I was like, you know that scene where, like, the Darkling has, like, Alina against the wall? I was like, oh, I wish that was me. I have no shame in saying that.
Yeah, honestly. And, like, it's so good. It's just, like, you end up falling in love with him, and you feel betrayed when you find out that he's not who you thought he was.
Yeah, but then, like, I was like, it's like when Mal showed up at Us Altar, and she was like hitting it off with the Darkling. She was like embracing her new power. She'd been at Us Altar for like 2 months. Like, she was living the life. She was living a life of luxury. And then Mal turns up, and she was like, oh, Mal, oh my God. Yeah. I was like,
no.
How? When the Darkling's over there and you're looking at Mal. I was like, the king, pretty much, not even the king, but the, like, Grisha king.
He basically rules the country.
Whole land, yeah, this whole country is over there, and you're going for Mal. Childhood best friend Mal. Absolutely not, sis. And I think that's, at that moment, I knew that me and Alina would not get on.
I mean, you adamantly hate friends to lovers, though.
Friends to lovers is the worst trope, and I will die on that hill. I will fucking die on that hill saying that friends to lovers is the worst. But you know what? I'm like acting like I've never shipped anyone that was friends to lovers. But you know, if it's a bit of spice, like you've been friends, but you have like a little bit of like banter, like I'm good with that. But I don't like one friend simping for the other friend, and the other friend isn't interested until they get another boyfriend, and then they're all interested.
Until they're unavailable completely.
And that's exactly what happened in this book series. He was not interested. He'd known that girl since they were children. They were like BFFs. She obviously always loved him. She was obviously simping for him from day one. And then
literally,
she's suddenly all interesting and becomes the sun summoner. And he's like, shorty, looking fine. He's like, yes, you are hot. And now I'm like, bitch, no.
He's so
Dudley,
rude.
you say it. He's fucking rude.
He's like, oh, you've sold yourself out to the Darkling, you're living this life. And I'm like, you literally slept with every girl in the First Army in front of Alina, knowing that she had a crush on you, because you admit that you've known she's loved you since day one, and you literally slept with every other girl. And now you're saying that, oh, because she's, like, become a Grisha, she sold out. No, you don't get to put that on her. Like,
You don't get to... he frustrates me. Literally, Mal gives me Gale vibes.
Completely. He acts like he owns Alina, and like he made her, and he did nothing.
He literally had nothing to do with who Alina... Well,
Well,
no.
he does, but...
He's just dead ting. I hate him.
Yeah.
And, like, he's, like, slept with Zoya, and, like, at this point Zoya was a bitch, and, like, they didn't get on. Well, Alina and Zoya didn't get on, and, like, that is just the biggest kick in the teeth that any, like, boy can give you. When your crush is, like...
No, I slept with your like, your enemy. Oh my gosh.
Your frenemy.
Yeah. Well, at that
slept
point,
with
it's
your
just
rival,
enemy.
but you're not allowed to sleep with anybody else because you fancy me, but I'm allowed to sleep with whoever the fuck I want. No, fuck you.
Makes me so angry.
I hate him.
But yeah, moving on from this was supposed to be what we liked.
Oh my god, this is going to turn into a Why We Hate Mal podcast.
It really can't. Although, speaking of, like, another love interest who we loved was Nikolai.
Sorry. Yes, we love Nikolai. Obviously, he's just perfect. Like, me and Deadly were discussing this when Deadly finished King of Scars, but I was saying, you know what it is about him that I love? It's a bit similar to Aelin in the fact that he is a king. He's born to be a king. He knows that that's what he wants, and he's gonna be the best king possible.
Yeah.
There's nothing I dislike more than when a protagonist goes, I'm royalty, but I don't want to be royalty. I wish I had a normal life. No, I'm sorry, too bad. You own it, and you roll with it, and you frickin' like do the best possible job possible because you have people
I know,
around.
like you're given this position of power. You can help so many people's lives, and that's what Nikolai, like, he goes undercover as a common person to understand his kingdom more.
He goes full Prince Harry and Prince William and, like, joins the army to feel a camaraderie with his people and to gain their respect, because that is the whole idea. So I don't know if you live somewhere that isn't the United Kingdom and you don't have a monarchy. That's one of the things that our monarchy do. It's tradition that they go into the armed forces. I mean, it's a little bit of a publicity stunt because there's no way they're going to get shot, because that would be an act of war. Like, that would literally cause World War III. But they go and they serve, and to like be on the same level as the people and to gain the people's love and respect and stuff. So that's what Nikolai does, and you know what? It gained my respect. It worked
completely. It does, because his brother doesn't care. His brother's such he's so frustrating.
Or his half brother.
Honestly, so many twists and turns.
He just fully takes on the role of being king and being a prince, and that's what I respect about him. And he's just so witty and funny, and I love that. I love a little bit of wit and confidence and arrogance, and he gives me all of those things. He ticks all the boxes.
He's so charming as well. And like, even when we met him as Sturmhorn, which is his privateer alter ego, I was like, oh, I love this guy. Like, he's so witty and fast and clever. And then when it came out that he was a prince, I was like, oh, of course, absolutely, I'm here for this.
And you know that it's like real love, because like Alina was like, oh, he's like not that good looking, and then I was still like, he could rail me when he was still old.
Yeah, literally. But she's like, yeah, he looks like a fox with a broken nose, but I'm like, I would marry him.
I was like, absolutely. Daddy. I was like, rail me, sailor, definitely, 100%. But then he was like, turned out to be some like attractive prince, and I was like, even better.
Yeah, of course.
But that's how you know that you're in love with him, yeah. But yes,
other characters that we loved are Genya and Zoya, who all the characters we love in Shadow and Bone are all the side characters.
I know.
But Genya, for me personally, I thought her character arc is so fantastic, and I like when they can show a woman who loves the way she looks, but it's not a weakness. It's part of her arsenal of how she like gets through life and how she knows how to control people with how she looks, because that is such a part of our society. Like, we always say, like, oh, it doesn't matter, whatever, but actually it does. And there's, like, a character to say that and embrace that is really interesting.
Yeah,
And then to have that
you
kind
like...
of...
Carry on, sorry.
I know, I was going to say, and then to have that kind of stripped away in the later books, and how she copes with that is really interesting.
Yes. She's to be always told that you are beautiful and that you have a certain standard of beauty, and to have it taken away from you but still be fucking badass.
Yeah.
Yes. Get it, queen.
Literally.
100%.
She just rolls with it. Like, she has some time when she's underground where she's like, oh, my life's ruined. And then she's like, nah, I'm going to make a snazzy eye patch. I'm going to make my hair look great. I'm going to dress better than anyone else in this army. And I'm like, yes, Genya, I love you.
And you know what's quite an interesting thing that I've just thought about now that we're talking is that, like, it was quite similar with Zoya, as the fact that she was stunning, she was absolutely beautiful, she was just otherworldly beautiful. And I think that when she was in the first books, she was like, oh, that's just me. I know that I'm good looking, I know that I'm good, I know that I'm powerful, but she didn't really know how to handle herself. But I think when everything happened with Genya, and she became closer with her later on in the series, and that really taught her to embrace her power more than use her beauty. Do you know what I mean?
Because, yeah, completely.
Like, obviously in King of Scars, she becomes one of the most powerful storm, like Grisha.
Yeah,
but
and
she doesn't talk about. We don't hear so much about her being absolutely beautiful, stunning. Everyone, well, you do a bit because
but if it's not part of her inner monologue anymore, whereas it was,
yeah,
and now it's about power.
Yeah, I guess it's a bit different in the Shadow and Bone series because we see it's from Alina's point of view, so we only ever see it through Alina's eyes, and she would have the insecurities of obviously knowing that her and Mal had a relationship, and she would see her as a threat, and, well, earlier on she does, but she would see her as being intimidating and stuff like that, rather than who she actually is, being able to see her personality. But yeah, Zoya's freaking redemption arc is just one of the best things about that trilogy. From the start, I mean, I love a bitchy character. You know that I do. I love... This is the same with Nesta. I said this before. Nesta is my favourite character in A Court of Thorn and Roses. And Zoya is my favourite character in Shadow and Bone. And she was a cow to begin with, and I will admit that she is a cow. But sometimes I think it's probably because I relate, because I give off cowish vibes. If you first meet me, apparently I'm a cow. But... underneath it, we are nice people, completely worthy of friendship.
And also, with Zoya, you can really tell because she worked her butt off to get where she was. And then Alina just comes in and is automatically the Darkling's favourite, and
100%. You go, wow, okay, yeah, I see the frustration. I mean, obviously, if you'd worked that hard to get there your whole entire life, and some person just comes in and she's like, I'm Sancta Alina. And she's like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
wow,
they're like, oh, really okay, guess what happened? And also, we find out later in King of Scars that when the Darkling used Alina to, make the fold grow bigger, it killed her aunt. So for Zoya to kind of move past that and still reconcile with Alina, it shows such, big, strength as a character.
Yeah, and from the start, for them absolutely hating each other to the end, them going to visit her and Mal at the house, and obviously being quite close friends, and it just makes my heart warm. You know that I love a female friendship. I love it. I will literally devour any female friendship, in any books, because I literally love it. But yeah, to see that friendship develop, because sometimes girls in real life as well, girls are pitted against each other for no reason. Completely. So to see the two girls being pitted against each other to then work it out, it's quite similar to Aelin and Lysandra.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, very similar to that.
Very in the fact those vibes.
That they were enemies to lovers, but make it friendship. That's when I like
friendship. It. That's how we like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like enemies to lovers, but just make it platonic. Yeah, I just love that. That was one of my favourite bits. The most heartwarming bit is that Alina and Zoya, their friendship that developed, and yeah, I just loved it. I think that
It's
was great.
It's so good. Like, another thing we really liked is the lore, because obviously it is a hard slog to get an entire universe's worth of lore and world building into a series. But I think Shadow and Bone did it really well. Because you learn, like, they weave, because Alina's story is kind of tied to the Saints. So they weave in, like, all this folklore, and then also having her train as a Grisha, you kind of learn about the different orders of Grisha, and different stories about the past. So you kind of get a really well-rounded idea of the world, which they then can go into in later books and explore the other countries and explore the kind of cities that they've mentioned in passing, and it's really interesting.
Yeah, the use of like religion and folklore and stuff within the story is just really, really gripping and interesting. And I think we got to, and like the use of the amplifiers and how the amplifiers link in with like with history and myths and things. And you think, oh, that's a myth, and actually it's real. And you're like, wow, I love that. And I think that's what I was more reading it for. I was like, oh, how is this going to link up? I love Easter eggs. So
Yeah.
having the Easter eggs of like them picking up books and reading books and stuff and clues and dropping hints and giving something for the reader to work out along the way. I think that was really clever by Leigh. I really enjoyed that. Like with the stag, and it was always a myth.
Oh yeah, and
never,
like the
never
kind of
find the stag.
Yeah, having the twist of kind of all the saints were actually Grisha.
Yes.
And Moritzova's amplifiers is the same as like the saint that had the collar and the cuffs, and it shows how like the real world has influenced religion and fantasy. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, I always think that that's really funny to read in YA fantasy, because you think, oh, that's interesting, but then you think, obviously, controversial when I say this, but that's obviously kind of a dig at like modern day religion. You think, well,
yeah,
it's come from somewhere. It may not necessarily be true, but it's come from somewhere, and it might have been exaggerated slightly.
Completely, and it kind of gives you an idea, especially in the later books, like when the Darkling, who is horrible, he now has a cult that worships him. Like,
I know.
Yeah, it skews everything and makes you kind of critically think about the world we live in as well, which is a great thing for YA to do.
Yes, I agree. Should we go on to our dislikes of the series?
Our dislikes. We shouldn't talk about Mal too much, because we've already touched on it.
I know, but I still hate him.
And this will just become a Mal hate podcast.
You know, I would literally love these books if Mal wasn't in them.
He just frustrates me so much.
He's just like damp. He's a damp character with just no personality, and there's like not one thing about him I like.
And he's got such a saviour complex. Like, he needs to make sure that he's the one that's sorted Alina out, and he's the one that's found all the things, and he's the one that's discovered. And I'm just like, just stop.
It's the fragile masculinity for me.
Yeah,
like,
it's the toxic and fragile masculinity.
Oh God, he just makes me angry. I really wish that they didn't get together. You know what? I hated him that much that I was going, you know what, Alina, go evil, join the Darkling. I wouldn't even judge you at this point.
Oh,
you know
my
what?
God,
it would make
that
the story so much more interesting.
Honestly.
Just go evil. What if?
Like, Alina couldn't, like, I think Alina's inner monologue, when she's not talking about Mal, is really funny and sarcastic and interesting.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you're such an interesting character. I'm like, I wanna know. But yeah, I don't wanna...
I know, but like, I hate Mal. I'm sorry. He ruined it for me. He ruined those books for me. I would have put those 3 books in my top favourite books if his like whole character was better. I just really hated him. And that doesn't happen to me a lot. The only time that's ever happened to me is in the Red Queen series. I won't go into detail about that series, but I hate it. It's one of the worst things I've ever read in my entire life. And the main reason is because I absolutely hated the main character, and she gives me the same vibes as Mal. And that's why. Yeah, absolutely the worst. But yeah, let's move on from Mal because it's making me angry.
Okay, so another thing is the predictability. So I think we touched on it in our last podcast, that before I read the final book of the trilogy, I sent a message to Dani of like what my predictions were for the last book, because Dani was like, "Oh, what do you think is going to happen?" And every single thing I said happened.
She like deadly like listed them in the exact order that they happened as well. Like when I'm telling you, she said this the whole plot of the book. She said the whole plot of the book. And I think when I read them, I thought the same thing, especially for the last one. Not so much the first two, but the last one I knew.
No,
exactly
the
what was
last one
gonna
you
happen.
could just see where it was going to go, and I think as we have read a lot of YA, we could just see where it was going to go. Whereas we will talk about this in a bit, but Six of Crows, I had no idea. I literally did not know what was going to happen, and I was here for it. But yeah, I think that kind of that's why I say it's classic YA. Like, it was enjoyable, but I knew what was going to happen.
It was entertaining, but we sort of knew what I mean, if you didn't know what was going to happen, maybe you're new to the YA. Genre,
I mean, it'll be a great first
genre.
YA series.
Oh, brilliant! Like, you would not have a clue. Well, maybe you would. It's kind of obvious, but
yeah.
It was just, it's just predictable. I think just some of the bits I just thought, like, I think I knew from book one that he was going to be the
third amplifier. Yeah.
Because what the odds of Mal, I see I'm not even saying his name because I hate it that much, him. What is the thought of him why is he special? What has he got that no one else has? Why can he find them? Why is he the only one that can track them?
Literally.
Like, and then it got me thinking, and I was like, oh, obviously he is one.
Yeah, completely.
Like, attracts,
he's connected to them. And like when they were going on about like, oh, the Firebird like has a connection to every living thing in Ravka, I was like, oh, here we are. I see.
Ooh, there it is.
Yeah. But I mean, it made I think that's also a testament to the first two books built it up, because the last book just made sense. Like, all this groundwork she'd done, it just made sense.
Yeah, we got there, and it may have been predictable, but we got there, and it was quite entertaining to read.
Yeah.
But I think if we wanted to make it better, then we would try and make it a little bit less predictable. I'm not really sure how she would have made it less predictable, to be honest. I don't have any notes as to what she could have done to make it less predictable.
Well, it's like, even if you say if Alina went with the Darkling, that would have been...
Holy crap.
Flipped the whole thing.
Died. Yeah. If she'd have just gone evil.
Yeah, completely.
Even for a little bit, and then if she really wanted to give Mal a redemption arc, that Mal snapped her out of it.
Yeah, that could have been cool.
But then that would have been predictable in itself. If she'd have murdered Mal, I'd have been here for it, and it would have been very entertaining. If she'd have gone, bitch. Or...
that would be a self-insert.
Yeah, or even better than that, she was like, oh my god, like Mal was like, Alina, you know, like the classic YA.
Yeah.
Alina, no, don't. You're better than this. I can see the real you. I see you for what you truly are, and you're an actual saint. And then she goes, oh, Mal, yes, thank you very much. Oh my god, that is right, correct. I am good inside. And then she went up to him to hug him, and then she stabbed him in the back.
Oh.
That would have been wow. I'd have been like, wow.
Yeah. And
that's how you could have made it less predictable.
Her wrist. Oh, it would have been so good.
And then, deadly. Oh my god, that would have been sick if she like made him into an amplifier. That would have been. It would have been dark, but it would have been sick. And then
we'd have been here for it.
And then, obviously, none of this, like, nobody knows. I don't know. Simultaneously, I know that I think Six of Crows is like set a bit later on after the happenings of the Grishaverse trilogy, the first three, Shadow and Bone. But then, like, Six of Crows is like simultaneously happening at the same time, so all the heist stuff happens, and then like freaking Nina comes and she has to like try and get it back from the dark. So like Alina and the Darkling are slowly taking over Ravka and everywhere, and they're gonna take over the whole world, and then like the Six of Crows squad. I can't remember what they're called.
And yeah, oh my god, that would have been so cool. Especially because Nina's a bone witch now. Like, she can control bones. So she could have
Yeah,
like
just...
resurrected Mal and like fucked with the leader. Oh my god, it would be so cool. Anyway.
Well, could she have resurrected Mal? If she
Well,
had
she
his
could have like
bones?
resurrected his body.
Yeah. And she was like, oh, and she used him as like a puppet. See, that
Yeah,
made me
literally.
happy.
Well, because in the King of Scars, the ghost could talk through her.
Yeah.
So she could have like, yeah, it would have been really cool.
Knowing Mal, he'd be like, ew, I'm not talking to a woman.
Lol. So
I'm
we
a
touched on
man.
Six
I don't
of
need a woman
Crows.
to talk for me.
We should probably go into Six of Crows.
Yes, what a good segue.
So Dani really hyped up Six of Crows to me, and I was like, oh my god, what if it doesn't live up to the expectation? And I have to like message Dani and be like, yeah, it was right. No, it literally blew my socks off. My socks are now in Albuquerque. I don't know where they are. They're in space. My wig is in space. I'm obsessed.
The fact that you doubted me and thought for a second.
Well,
that
it was
would
more
let
that
you
I was
down
like, what if?
that.
I was like, more if I was like, what if it is good, but I just don't like it, and then I would have had to be like, oop.
I know you, Dudley. I know what you like.
You
and I know what
do.
you dislike. Why would I say that to you when I'd have thought you didn't like it? Of course you were going to love it. Of course you were going to be upset. I mean, upset? Well, yeah, that as well. Obsessed,
I
but
mean, I
upset as well.
was.
But as soon as you read those first like few chapters about Kaz Brecker, obviously it was the best thing you've ever read.
I was literally like, oh, okay, Kaz Brecker, I'm in love. And then it just kept going.
I think it's because we all like a bad boy. We do. And we all have to... Obviously, me and Dudley like a bad boy because Dudley and I were just simping over the Darkling. But obviously... Yeah. But Kaz is like a good bad boy, so it's like you're allowed to like him, but he was also
he's like the Darkling light.
Like, you wouldn't want to introduce him to your dad or your mum, but... No. You wouldn't be afraid to introduce him to your friends because he's not a mass murderer. He's like
Tommy Shelby from Peaky Blinders.
Peaky Blinders, of course. I'm sure he was based on that. Like, his whole look is Tommy Shelby's look. His like attitude is Tommy Shelby. He's like literally Tommy Shelby, but that's okay because Tommy Shelby is fine. And yeah, so is Kaz.
Yeah. Perfection. It's the first. Well, I often like all the characters, but I have like faves and then ones that I don't really mind about. But with this, all six main characters, I love.
So things we liked, we loved the dregs. All of the dregs. They are every single one. I didn't even get to one chapter, and I didn't think. Do you know when sometimes you read chapters in a book, and it's like,
oh, it's this person.
Yeah, you always have that one. I couldn't think of anybody in that whole series. Maybe Matthias to begin with.
Matthias is tricky. But like, because I listened to the audiobook and they all had separate voice actors, and Matthias's voice actor was dreamy. It was so deep and like rumbly. And I was like, every time it started, I had to like clutch my imaginary pearls because his voice was so deep.
Did you get goosebumps?
Completely.
Did you get goosebumps? Oh. And
then when he's like talking about Nina and like her lips, I was like looking over my shoulder like, can people hear my headphones? Because girl,
you're like that'll make pussy throw up.
Literally, I was like, my basement is flooded.
My ovaries have exploded.
So even though at first Matthias, like, some of the things he was saying, I was like, boy, you need to get your act together. By the end, I was fully on Team Matthias.
I think we all were at the end. And then Leigh went, death.
Oh, I honestly can't believe... I am still not emotionally over it. When we were talking on Skype about this the other day, Dani literally got so emotional about Matthias. She was on edge.
Well, we both were. We were just like crying into like...
We were literally crying.
Like,
because it's so well done, and they pay homage to him so well.
Do you know what it is? This is what was getting me emotional. Do you know when people know it's their time to go? I think that is a worse death. That is a more tragic death than like a death. But like when he was like looking at her and he just wanted to see her one more time. That's the thing that got us. We
literally, the fact that he like walked across the city to see her one last time.
Oh my that is what I
Oh
want.
my
I
God.
want a boyfriend who will drag himself across the city on his deathbed. I want him to drag himself on his deathbed to see me before he passes away with he had like a smile on his face.
Oh my God. And then
Oh
that
my
like
God.
tiny little chapter where it's just him walking into the ice because he feels like he's
Stop
like,
it.
oh my God. Oh, it's too much.
I can't.
I was like, because I've been trying to get through all these books and I'm hooked, I've been listening to them whilst I work, because some of my job I can do without having to type and stuff. And I was literally sat at work crying, and I was like, "Fuck, no one can walk in right now because I'm too emotional, and they're going to be like, what? And I'm going to have to lie and say someone in my family died. Because Matthias is my family now.
Matthias is my only family. So other characters that we enjoyed reading about, we said, all the drags. Oh my God, just all of them. Inej, her just whole story was just
she's fantastic.
Killed
and
me.
To have like a POC woman lead is like so good, and she's so talented.
So sick, like proper like assassin. Just everything about her. I just loved her character, and she was so like they called her the Wraith, and I just think that's so cool. Like I just love like characters who are just like the best of the best, like they're the best at what they do, and they know the best at what they do, and they're confident in their abilities, and they know they get the job done, and that is what like Inej was. That was her character.
Yeah. She was so sick. Like unfallible. It was great.
With that whole scene, like I was saying to Deadly, one of my favourite parts was when the girl, the assassin, the other girl, I don't know her name because she's irrelevant, but she comes and she's like, says that she's the rightful heir to the throne of Ravka, and she takes on Inej, and I was like, not for a second did I doubt that Inej was going to win. I knew that she was going to frickin' win. Like, Leigh might have made us try and think that she was like, oh, it was hit and miss, but I knew that she would get there in the end because it was Inej. Of course she was. I had no doubts for a second that she would be the one to get. Out of all of them, she's the only one that I didn't doubt. Every single one I thought, oh, Wylan, no.
Wylan,
Kaz,
I was on edge
Nina,
there. I was like, oh.
Jesper, definitely not. Can't trust you. But Inej, I trust you to get the job done. I never for a second, if I was Kaz and I was like orchestrating this crime, I would have complete faith in her. And obviously he does, because she gets the job done every single damn time.
Mm-hmm. Completely. And I think because she has her guard up at the start of the series, and then as it goes on, we learn so much more about her and understand why, and she's so good.
It's just perfect, like with her family, her being separated from them, and it's just like, it's tragic, but every good protagonist needs a tragic backstory.
Completely, absolutely. And that bathroom scene.
Wow. That needs to happen to me one time in my entire... They didn't even do anything. They were just like...
No, they literally just changed her bandages, and we're like, ooh.
Why was that the sexiest thing I've ever seen in my entire life?
Literally.
When like two characters have that much chemistry that they don't even need to do anything, they just need to like care for one another, and it's the hottest thing to ever happen.
Yeah.
That's when you know you've written characters with phenomenal chemistry. That is just, do you know what? Claps for you, Leigh, because that was phenomenal. That's better than any smart I've ever read.
Honestly, it was just so on edge. And speaking of the hottest thing I've ever read in my entire life, Nina is my bae. I love her so much. We do stand Nina. I really love that she's written curvy, that she's so sassy, that she's just so unapologetically herself. Because again, like, even with Matthias, he's like, why are you so crass? Why do you dress like this? Why do you do this? She's like, that's just how I am. And she's like, this is like...
that is completely true, Deadly. Yeah, the fact that Matthias is like, why are you like this? Why are you like that? And she's like, why the fuck not? That is just how every girl should be. Because women are always told that we have to behave and we have to, like, conform to society's norms and all of that stuff. But she's just like, fuck you. I'm going to do whatever I want. And I just love that. Yeah, I'm the
Literally.
same. She's great.
Oh,
And she's another
she's
character
so...
that uses her, like, femininity and allure to, like...
Yeah, to her advantage. And she knows what
Yeah,
men think. And she's like, yeah, and I'm going to use it and play you.
get it, queen. And you know what? I think Nina would... Do you know what? Nina would be in the top 0.5% on OnlyFans if this was the 21st century. You know what?
She
I would subscribe. I
So
would
would
subscribe
I.
to her OnlyFans,
I
100%.
would stand, honestly. She could scam me. I'd love it. And like, oh my god, that
It'd
moment.
be me, you, and Matthias.
And Matthias would be awkwardly taking the photos and getting annoyed.
And Hannah.
Yeah, definitely would be Han. But yeah,
And
even
Han's
like the end of the first... But you described her as kind of like, after I finished Six of Crows, you were like, that Dark Phoenix moment. And I was like, oh, completely.
Yeah.
Like, when
Yeah.
she takes the param, it, like, the power that she has, and also the constraint
Honestly.
that she shows with that power.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't kill everyone, she just makes them go to
What?
sleep. I mean, yeah, she
I
takes
know.
off that guy's scalp, but...
Ooh. Were you
But
saying they
he's
didn't deserve
evil.
that?
Yeah, he literally did. He's horrible. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
she's fantastic.
Honestly,
One of my
favourite...
top... Yeah.
One of my favourite bits in the whole thing is where she takes the pram, because it was literally made me feel sick, because I was like, oh my god, no, not Nina.
Yeah.
But like oh god, it just hurt me. Like, you know, when she was like having the withdrawals from it, and like Matthias was like taking care of her. Oh my god. You know what?
was
You know
so
what? If you'd have
hard.
asked me before I started talking to you about this, who my favourite couple was in Six of Crows, I would have said Kaz and Inej, 100%, without a doubt. Now that we've been talking about it, I'm like, Matthias and Nina. Absolutely.
Honestly, they break boundaries, they get through so much together. Oh my god.
Oh my god, the bit where they're in the... Wait, that happened, didn't it? Yeah, where they have to go to tent and they have to be nude.
Yeah, in the
How have
fur.
we not spoken about that? Yeah. And then like nude, and she's like, you're gonna like cuddle, and he's like, Just the best thing ever. I
It's
love
so
seeing him
good.
square. I love how she
And
makes
she's
him
like,
square.
yeah, completely. And the bit where she's like like she's in like lumpy sweater and ankle length skirt, and he literally thinks she's like a goddess on earth.
Oh my god, that's so funny. Yeah, when he... it's like in Twilight when Bella's wearing the fucking disgusting khaki skirt, and like and Edward goes, oh, it's just the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. And then that's the same with Matthias and Nina, because she's like wearing the traditional
Like Theoden clothes.
yeah, Fjerdan dress, and I'm
And everyone else
I
is
just
laughing at
love
her,
it.
and Matthias is like, that is a goddess.
He's like popped one. Oh god.
Speaking of, we need to get on to the next couple, which is Jesper and Wylan.
Oh, Jesper and Wylan.
I
I wish we
was
had
so...
more
oh,
Jesper and Wylan.
me too. But it was like, so in that first book, when they started flirting, I was like, I'm sorry, what? Are they flirting? And then as it grew, I was like, Dani, I can't
Is this
take this.
LGBTQ?
I was like, is this actual LGBTQ rep with like an interracial couple?
God,
And it was done
yeah.
so
And-
well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but then the kiss makes me
The
mad.
kiss. Dun dun dun.
Honestly, that's
I
literally
literally-
in our list of dislikes. I've just put the kiss in caps. Well,
Oh my god, the kiss was a...
was a time,
Was
but
a
I could see it
time?
coming.
We just did the same thing at the same time. Wow,
Well,
that was really impressive.
we've been connected. Oh my god, that's so funny. But yeah, I just think that the way that it was written as an LGBT romance was really well done. It wasn't sensationalized. It wasn't kind of like a, oh, here's this big hoo-ha. It would just
Oh my
happen
god, it wasn't
naturally.
like... Yeah, it wasn't like anybody had to come out.
No,
Do you know what I
literally.
mean?
All the only thing that happens is when they're like breaking down that door, and Jesper says to Wyland, he's like, "Oh, you must drive the girls crazy," and Wyland says, "Just the girls," and Jesper's like, "Oh, and boys too, I guess," and that's it.
Yeah, and then
And
that's
I'm
what we
like,
needed. Because
so
we've said this before, we've always been like, it just needs to be natural. We just, I don't know, like, me and Deli are both just, when, it's like the same thing. So, a good, I can't talk, but a good example of what we're talking about is race. When you read YA fantasy books and they make a massive deal about someone being like a different race, and you think, oh my god, why? Why are you even making race a thing in YA fantasy? It doesn't even have to be. You don't even have, or not
it's
even
a
race.
fantasy
Sorry,
world.
that's not even like what I mean. But like when people are like, oh yeah, black people are slaves in a fantasy world,
In
and
a
I think,
fantasy world.
why? Why did you do that? Yeah, have a bit of racial tension because I guess that's normal in any
Yeah.
well, I mean, you could do it without having the racial tension, but just like don't bring up sex. It's like when you bring up slavery and it's like always black people being slaves or like a different race of person, and then you've got like white supremacy, and I hate that in fantasy books. But the same with like LGBTQ romance. I think, God, why are you even making it not normal?
Yeah, why does it have to be
I'm
a thing?
sorry,
It's a fantasy world.
it's 2021 as well. Like, honestly,
Yeah.
obviously, I understand how important it is to tell the stories of experiences of like experiencing being LGBTQ and making it authentic, and obviously coming out is a massive deal and it's a massive thing. But I think it's really important to make it like normalized because we don't want to have to keep coming out for. Yeah, people don't have. You don't want people to keep coming out forever.
Like, yeah, that's the thing, because every time I'm recommended like an LGBTQ book, it's a coming out story, or it's someone getting the confidence to come out, or it's the fallout after someone's come out, and I'm like, just give them a love story, or just give them an adventure that turns into a love story, which is what Wyland and Jesper is. They just start flirting whilst they're literally having a heist. Like,
and it's like normal, and it's natural, and I'm like, yes, I love this.
Oh, it's so good. And I love Wyland anyway as a character. Wyland is fantastic. I think his storyline, it was so well done.
Yeah.
And like the twist. Oh, Jesper. Yeah, we need to talk about Jesper actually.
And Jesper, just his storyline was just, oh my god. I mean, I think everyone can relate to the fact that you do not. We all mess up when we're young. We mess up, and he was so terrified to let his dad down. And I think really deep down, we're all really scared to let our parents down. We want our parents to be proud of us. So I could really relate to his character and the struggles that he was going through, because it seems like the end of the world when you like do not want to tell your parents something. You do something wrong and you think, oh my god, I'm gonna have to go explain this to my mum or my dad or my guardian, and you think, oh god, they're gonna be so disappointed in me. And like that was just his struggle, and his coping mechanisms, like the way that he used his humour as a defence, like nothing was wrong, and he kept like deflecting and pushing things back and avoiding his responsibilities, and like obviously his addiction to like gambling and stuff like that. And obviously Kel, wrong story, but Kaz kind of played on that a bit, that he was like, oh, I'll give you money to like, so you can, and it was like tempting him to do things, and I was like, Jesper, you're better than this. And he came through for me every single time.
Yeah, he did. And like,
he that's proud, bless him.
But I think that is that very real thing of not wanting to tell your parents, and then especially because Jesper's dad is so lovely.
Oh my god, that's top of the list of the things that we love. Jesper's dad.
Jesper's dad could marry me. I would move to the farm with him and live a happy life, because he's an MVP.
I love him. We love Jesper's dad.
So good.
Stan Jesper's
and
dad.
He literally
we hate Wyland's dad.
Wyland's dad is horrible. And yeah, Jesper's dad. He's so like the kind of parent that you never really actually see in YA, because he's like, oh yeah, you fucked up, but also he's like, okay, I will help you to make sure that we can sort this.
Oh my god, like the perfect parent. Oh my god, we love him. We stan Jesper's
we do. Dad. And he literally knew that like Wyland and Jesper were a thing before they did.
Yeah, he was like, I ship it.
He's like, I see it.
Same.
We were like, yes, we'll give you a badge, Jesper's dad. Welcome to our fan club.
And it was like, you know the bit where they're running through Ketterdam and they're like getting shot at in the university quarter, and I was like, oh my god, what if Jesper's dad gets shot? What if he gets shot? I'm not gonna be able to cope. And like, that's all I cared about. I was like, as long as he makes it through,
Literally,
I'm happy. I didn't even care about anybody else at that point. I was like, protect Jesper's dad from everything.
protect Jasper's dad. Oh, it's so good. And like, I also think all of the romances in it are really great examples of slow burn.
Yeah.
Because
like, not
in
too
the first
slow.
book we don't. Yeah, in the first book we get hints. We get like little tasty morsels that we can just go, ooh, okay. And then it's not until like late in the second book. It's, yeah, as you say, not too slow, but slow enough that it feels earned when we get them.
Yeah, because I think like obviously when a book relies too much on the romance, it can get boring if it's a slow burn, you know, because you think, oh my god, just get on with it. Like, I want some interaction, but because the storyline was so strong on this, that we were okay with the romance being a bit slow, because we were too focused on how freaking good the plot was and the twists,
like the
and
plot
the
and the twist.
turns.
Oh my god, the twists.
Oh my god, Kaz Brecker. Every time Kaz bloody did something, I was like, how have you fooled me again? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times. I mean, really, it really just got embarrassing at that point. I was like, wow, I'm just going to keep
I was
doing
like,
that.
yeah. It's like you said, it's like, how are we reading their narrative but they're still surprising us?
Yeah, we're reading it from their point of view, but they're still going, ooh, surprise, bitch. And I was like, oh, it was genuine shock every single twist. Like when the whole bit with the prison, I was like shitting myself. I was like, what the fuck? When like Inez just like climbing through the fucking
Oh my god.
incinerator pipes.
Yeah, the incinerator.
Oh, I was like, ah! And it was hot and her shoes were melting. And I was like, oh my god. I didn't think she would get burnt alive, but I was like, what if? I mean, obviously I didn't doubt her. I thought she was going to get out. But I was like, how dare you, Kaz? Kaz must have known. I was just like, oh my god. All these bits, like, oh.
Well, even like when Wyland's dad got the boat destroyed because he thought Wyland was on.
I know,
and we were like, what the frick? And then, obviously, he changed his face. And we're like, how did all this happen?
I know. Like, when did this happen? How did we miss it? We've been reading it the whole time.
Yeah, literally. Oh my god. There's so many twists. I can't even remember them all because they just keep coming.
I know.
Like, the second book with the whole auction, the layers they went to.
I know.
The fact that they made us think Wyland gave up the information, but he gave up false information because he knew that his dad was.
Oh my god! Yeah, that was it. I was like, Wyland. I was like, no. I was like, idiot. Of course he didn't. Obviously that was part of the plan. I was like, there's no way Wyland has sold them out. Oh my god! It was just so damn good.
Oh, it's so. I literally said to Dani, I was like, we need to be really careful when we talk about the Six of Crows because all we're gonna say is it was so good. But it's so good,
Jesus.
and like,
right,
it is.
I feel like we need
to get on to King of Scars, really.
Yeah, one more thing we wanted that we disliked, that we didn't really dislike, but it would have been nice. There's more Kaz and Inez. We would have liked to see a little bit more romance. But Leigh, we'll forgive you if you just want to give us a short story of just them two.
Yeah,
I would forgive you for that. Yeah, just send us a little cheeky preview. That would be fantastic. Thank you very much. I'll be waiting for the mail.
Waiting for the
now
DM.
on to King of Scars.
Gosh, King of Scars. So I finished King of Scars yesterday.
It's fresh for Deadly.
Very fresh. Very emotionally stirring. Because it was a ride.
It was a ride.
Because I feel like King of Scars is the first time where there's been a sequel with literally all my favourite characters.
Honestly. So this story focuses on Nick and Zoya and Nina. And it skips between each of those point of views the whole way through. And yeah, it just like leaves off obviously at the end of Crooked Kingdom where Nick and Genya and Zoya obviously were in Ketterdam and they met up with the dregs So they're obviously aware of Nina.
Yeah.
And Nina is going undercover in Fjerda. She went to bury Matthias and to spy, pretty much, and get her revenge.
Yeah.
Poor baby, she's mourning.
She is.
No mourners, no funerals.
Oh, she's doing both.
She's done both. She's done both. She's mourned and she's had a funeral.
God damn.
That's
Nina,
not even funny, but
one job.
She's off in Fjerda. She's undercover. She's fucking shit up.
Yeah.
Obviously, let's talk about Nina's bit first, because I feel like it's going to be easier for us to talk about.
And then we could dive into the whole Nick and Zoya, because that is a big chunk. But yeah, Nina, they've tailored her so she looks Fjerdan, basically. Because she is like Fjerda's #1 most wanted criminal.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah.
So she goes to find a place to bury Matthias. She buries Matthias. She sees his wolf. Oh my gosh.
Oh my god, that killed me. That was like...
Oh.
That was like... I'm trying to think what that reminded me of. A bit of like Manon and... Abraxas.
Abraxas, yes.
And then like the wolf came along and I was like, right, thank you. You're going to try to rip my heart out. Anything to do with animals just ends me. But yeah, she's undercover trying to find stuff out. She ends up at a girls' school,
like a convent, yeah.
Yeah.
And then finds a sexy girl who is also, surprise, Grisha. Yeah, and then they
obviously
discover that the convent is secretly making Grisha girls pregnant and dosing them with Parem, because of course they are.
There's gonna be an army.
Yeah, completely.
Grisha, but like crazy powerful Grisha who are on Parem. Because there's obviously a lot of bias towards Grisha in Fjerda. It's not like in Ravka, where they are very well respected and loved. Not loved, more like held to a higher standard.
Yeah, they're like revered.
But obviously in Fjerda, in Fjerda they're not.
No, it's the opposite. They don't even think they're human.
So she's not only mourning, she's not only having funerals, she's not only not looking like herself, she cannot use her powers.
Yeah.
Her brand new powers were scary.
Yeah.
They're scary powers.
She's the bone
resurrection
witch.
Powers.
She's so cool. And so it's kind of the story of her undercover and then doing loads of cool stuff. Like, she's just so cool. And I'm like, oh, Nina, yeah.
She's so badass in this. Like, we see her using her amazing personality, her outgoingness, her beauty to get what she wants from anybody. And she's also like stealthy, and you can see that she's taken like tips from like Inez and like when she sneaks into the factory, and
yeah, completely.
she's just grown. Like, you can just tell, like, from the start of like Six of Crows, she's just grown as a person, and she's really like comes out. She's like a darker side to her now, because obviously she's like off the Parem, and she's like, I think it's like forced her to grow up a bit, like, because I think when she was a part of the Dregs, they were all living a little bit of like a fantasy lifestyle.
Yeah,
they weren't living
completely.
the life that they wanted to, and now she's like out and she's a soldier, and she's completely different. But it was really, really interesting to read about her story.
Yeah, she had a rough go of it. It's really interesting to see, because she was very happy-go-lucky and like sassy, and she's still that, but she's got a bit of edge and a bit of kind of a chip on her shoulder to try and like make sure that no one else dies for no reason.
Exactly.
And yeah, it's really good. And then she even learned stuff from Kaz, like her distraction techniques and like flirting and that kind of stuff with the Jarl Brune, and when he comes and those kind of things. Oh gosh, scary man.
Oh my god.
And yeah, and she's got a bit of a streak. Like, she leaves the Well-Mother, the like priest woman, to be ripped apart by corpses.
Oh yeah, she's just badass. She just fully does not give a fuck. This is the sort of ruthlessness that we wanted from Alina.
Yeah, completely. She's the Alina that we wanted. Yeah, completely.
she's quite morally grey, and I think that's obviously become more prominent because she's older. And when you're older, there's like less naivety in what's right and what's wrong, and
it's not so black and white.
Different, and her like life experience has taught her different things. It's really interesting to read about Nina. Hopefully she'll get
I'm just excited to see what happens in the next book. I'm ready. I'm like, Nina, she's gonna mess shit up, and I'm ready.
Yeah, like when she like rose all those people from the dead, and then she broke all those women out of the factory. I was like in awe. I was like, she did that all by herself.
Literally.
Like, she was freaking doing it. Like,
and she made like a giant ash tree out of people's bones.
Yeah, she freaking made it look easy. She was like, yeah, and I'll do it again. Like, I was like, get it, girl.
Oh.
I was like, I'm excited. She's gonna freaking boss it in the next book.
Yeah.
I can just already tell.
Completely. And I'm here for it. We love to see it.
Which is phenomenal. I really loved her character.
Speaking of people bossing it, Zoya Nazhelensky is incredible in all the books, but especially in King of Scars.
I just freaking love the girl. Like, she's my favourite character. She's my favourite character, and I'll die on that freaking hill of saying that Zoya Nazhelensky is the best freaking character in Grishaverse, full stop. That's for sure. When I didn't even know I could love her anymore, and then we learned about her backstory, about her fucking evil mum. Fuck that bitch.
Her backstory was incredible. Like, horrifying, but incredible.
The fact that we found out that she was half Suli, that was just really great. I just think she's so freaking boss. Obviously, she's been through a lot in her life, and that it makes it even more understanding as to why she's not the most likable character to begin with, because obviously she's been through some stuff. Yeah, she's like clawed her way to where she is now. She has done that herself. So it just makes me respect her more, like knowing more about her, and I love reading from her point of view.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Good. Interesting, like, to get into her mind, and like you can understand why she has so many walls up.
Yeah, reading it from her point of view rather than through Alina's point of view is just so much better.
Yeah, and even like I feel like she went through a lot. Like, her amplifier that she literally fought so hard to get and had with her for like years got broken off her. And everyone was like, "Oh, just move on." And I'm like, that is part of her.
I was like, that's part of her journey. That is part of her arc. That's part of her history. Like, she fucking earned that. And they are told to, like, cherish those, like, freaking amplifiers.
And they only get one.
Yeah. They get one in their whole life. Well, that's what we thought.
Yeah.
But... yeah, and how heartbreaking. That's like losing a limb for Grisha. Completely. And everyone was like, get over it. Like, no.
But, oh, you lost your bracelet. I'm like, no, she lost part of her, like, her identity. She lost part of
herself, yeah, exactly.
And her kind of arc with the dragon, learning that actually Grisha can be more than what they thought, and that she can be that.
And the fact that she masters all of the freaking... oh my god, like, she's so... sick. I'm sorry. Like, she's a freaking storm witch. She literally is. Best. I'm sorry.
She's Storm.
She is, and maybe that's why I like her so much. Maybe that's why I was drawn to her, because she was giving me Storm vibes.
She reminds me of you so much, literally.
Honestly, if I had read this when I was like 13, I would have like based my whole personality on her, because she reminds me of Isabel, and I think that's why I initially liked her.
Izzy vibes, yeah.
Yeah,
completely.
Especially in the first books, because it was like Alina was kind of like a bit like Clary was towards, and I think that's why I was drawn to her. Like, but later I was like, oh, this is me. I'm joking.
No, completely, she is.
I feel I relate to her. She's just so cool, and not only is she the freaking captain of the first army. Incredible. She decided to go to like the other world and learn how to be a freaking sick ass Grisha. She's like got a sick reputation. She's stunning. She is she's gonna bag that king. She's gonna be freaking, she's gonna get there one way or another. We all know. Not only, she fucking slept with Mal and was like
Be like,
I'm not gonna let you break my heart. She was like, she treated Mal like Mal should be treated.
completely. She did. And she
She's
warned
my
Alina.
hero.
She was like, she said
She's
to
like,
Alina, she was
Alina.
like, go for Nick. He gave you an emerald and all these dresses. What you doing? And
She was
he
like,
loves
Alina,
her.
your man ain't shit.
Literally.
Oh my god, yeah, she was like, "Gal, get with Nick."
She was like,
Dumb.
Nikolai clearly loves you. And Alina was like, no.
Sorry, do you know what's really funny? We can edit this out, but I've just got a freaking email from on my Apple Watch saying that my fanfiction's been updated.
We'd love to see it.
Can't wait to read that when we finish filming.
Perf.
You know what? Don't edit that out. That's hilarious.
I love it. It's so on brand.
I know.
But yeah, and I think with this book, you can definitely see that Nikolai is kind of still getting over Alina a bit at the start.
And I'm sorry.
Zoya's right there.
Zoya needs to stop being second best to Alina. She...
Completely. I didn't realise how much on board with this ship I would be, but I am on this ship. I have bought a ticket, I have got a life vest on, I am ready for it to set sail, because Nick and Zoya need to get together.
I didn't know I needed it until I read that first chapter and she's like in his arms in the back and I was like, okay, I ship it. I didn't even need to take it. I didn't need any more convincing than that. I just needed to see them in each other's arms and I was like, ship it. Mm-hmm. That's my OTP now. We love them.
The opening to this book is incredible.
We were saying this, the opening was crazy, like, with Nick. I don't think we've even discussed what
we
happened.
haven't even mentioned that Nick got turned into a demon.
Oh my god, that was a shocker.
It was on our list to discuss from Shadow and Bone, but we were overrunning because we talked about Mal too much. So yeah, Nick getting turned into a demon was not the one. Oh my god.
My stomach literally fell through my arsehole. I was like, oh
yeah,
no. I was like, my baby. I was like, I can't lose him. It was awful. Especially because I knew that she was going to get with Mal. I knew in my gut she was going to get with Mal. I thought, oh my god, she's going to kill him. I was like, Leigh's going to kill him.
Yeah.
That's it.
But no, he's
sorry.
here.
Also, I feel like we need to discuss what happened with like Nick and his dad. I hate Nick's dad.
Oh my god.
Dick. Obviously, we hate him because he was literally disgusting towards Jenya. But like... he's horrible to Nick, and like I don't even know. Like Nick was like, "Oh, we need to go back and get my mum and dad," and I was like, "Leave your dad."
Yeah, like why? They were so horrible to you, and like
evil.
And especially the amount of
Queen
digs.
isn't even nice. Why no, the Queen was nice. He was
the amount of digs about his like parentage that they did. I was like, really? Because he's like stepped up and saved all your lives, and you're still being.
But yeah, I guess that's why he really had to step up because.
Yeah,
he knew that he wasn't
completely.
Well, all his life he'd been told, and you know what, that kills me when all his life he's heard that he wasn't a legitimate heir. Like as a child, hearing that must have just been soul destroying. That would have killed me. Like, how do you even recover from that? You just have to like your skin must be thick, like leather. He has like armor, like skin to like. Have to have had
but then still having all that pressure on him, like they told his backstory of that like kid that they sent to school with him, so that anything that he does wrong, the kid gets punished instead. I'm like, that screws someone up.
Barbaric, it's awful.
Oh,
ooh, we don't like abusive.
But we love Nick. Like Nikolai is just we
love baby Nick.
Charismatic, but also has such depth for a male character, because I feel like male characters are often not like delved into enough. Like we in Shadowhunters, we mentioned it. They explore their psyche a lot, which is good. But in other YA I've read, they don't as much. So it's really nice to kind of read it from his perspective and him trying to get to terms with what he's going through.
Yes, I agree. He's so strong and like he doesn't let anything get to him. He doesn't like dwell on things, and I think that's another thing that him and Zoya can relate to. That they both come from like really tough backgrounds. They've got trauma that they're dealing with, but they've always like ploughed through it and not let it get to them.
Completely.
and I just admire it about them both, and that's why I love them. That's why I ship it.
It's also that really frustrating thing where like they both like each other, but they both think the other one doesn't.
Oh,
And I'm
that
like, guys, just talk, just use your words.
I just don't even have the just please. I'm sorry, I don't know. Well, I guess it's a bit different for that situation. I'll give them some credit. It's the fact that obviously Nick has his duty and she has her army, and that she is not the ideal choice.
No, completely.
They don't have the privilege of choosing love.
No, completely. I think they both deep down know that they are, but like as we saw at the end of the book, he has to have a marriage for like politics.
Yeah, and she's not. Like, Zoe is not one to just not go for something that she wants. She's freaking badass. So she knows the importance of Nick's position.
Yeah, she respects him too much.
Yeah, and he respects her too much to want to like jeopardize any of it.
So good.
You know what? Stan.
It's so good. Also, the fact that Darkling now has a cult kills me off.
I mean, we'd be the leaders of it.
We'd be there with tattoos and little black robes, like, hi.
Yeah.
That ending.
Oh my God.
I messaged Dani and I was like, all in caps, like, oh my God, that ending.
When he came back.
Dying. Yeah.
Like I said to you, like I sort of had a feeling that he was going to come back, because he's obviously impossible to kill because he keeps coming freaking back.
Yeah.
And we have evidence of that because that's his whole backstory. And I thought he's coming back. I know. In my own, I don't know how and I don't know when, but he's coming back. And then at the end of the book, I was like, God damn it, I was right. I knew. Yeah, but it was still crazy. I was so impressed. I was happy.
Yeah.
And then
I'm so excited to see what's going to happen, but I was like shook.
But when I saw the cult, I was like, why? Yeah. Why is there a cult? Something must have happened. Because we've already spoken about this, the fact that the religion comes from somewhere. They see something, someone sees something, and then that's how it starts.
Yeah, when they fully brushed off that Yuri had a vision of the Darkling and he told him all this stuff that he couldn't have known otherwise, they were like, no. And I'm like, guys.
They're like, bitch, you're a liar.
Like,
I think they were just in like denial.
Completely. And I'm like, you guys also faked Alina's death and know that all these stories come from somewhere. So like, you know.
I know. Do we? Yeah. Anyway, I was going to say something about that. I was like, well, should we go on to the predictions?
Yeah, let's go into predictions because we need to. Yeah, and then we can, because obviously we've talked a lot.
Yeah, we've talked a lot, but
we love the book, so that's what it'll be.
Let's go on to predictions for Ruin of Wolves.
Yeah,
we put predictions for Wolf Book. LMAO.
We literally, because all I can remember is that it's got wolves in the title, and it's like I'm always like Reign of Wolves, Ruin of Wolves.
Yeah.
I'm sure once we've read it, it'll be stunning, but
yeah, we'll obviously know when we have it, like physically. But first thing on the list for predictions, Nick and Zoya get together. We don't know what form. Do we, Deadly? No. We're not saying marriage because we don't know, but we know that something's going to happen. At least they're going to at least kiss. Yeah,
there's going to be some tryst. Something's going to happen. They've been dangling it over us. We need it.
I mean, I hope it's a little bit more than a kiss.
Oh, so do I. But I also feel like because now Nick's engaged to some other girl, I'm like, there's going to be so much tension with that, and it's going to build, and it's going to be delicious.
Ooh! Stop teasing. I cannot wait. Holy crap, it's going to be explosive. I can't wait. Yes. So that's going to happen, of course. We think that Nina's going to avenge Matthias, finally.
Yeah.
Hopefully, anyway.
I mean, I'd like to see it, because he was such a big part.
This new dark badass Nina to fucking avenge her man.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
And
I know that he wouldn't want
her
he
wouldn't want her to, but I definitely think she's gonna mess some stuff up. But I do think she's gonna try and find who killed him.
Yeah.
But I don't know if she will take full revenge. I think she'll get there, be ready to do the deed, and then Matthias will come into her head and be like, oh, show compassion. And she'll be
like, Nina.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
She'll be so mad. And I think her and Hannah's story is going to be really interesting. We both agree that we don't think they're endgame, but they probably will have a bit of a fling, maybe.
A wink, wink.
Yeah.
Click, click.
I mean,
we think...
there was a lot of dialogue about Nina looking at her lips and how shiny her hair was for it to be straight. Like, you know that tweet where it's like, there is no heterosexual explanation for this? That was me
yeah.
on those chapters.
I mean, I'm hoping it... well, I think she's just still mourning with Tyus. Like, she was in love with him and they were in a really loving relationship. So I think it's going to be hard for her to move on. But obviously... I think she'll do bits with Hannah.
I think
but
hopefully some healing. But obviously I don't want to rush it because she needs to go through that.
Yeah. I think that Hannah's in a completely different stage in her life than what Nina is anyway. And I think she needs to...
Well, yeah, I feel like there might be something happen, but then it'll be more like Nina becomes more of a mentor to her.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
I think that Nina's going to get a fucking... harem army of women who will come over to Ravka and fuck shit up when the fucking... Is it the Sule?
No, it's the Fjerdins are marching on them.
The Fjerdins, because he's joining up with the Sule to the marriage. Yeah. To fuck shit up. Like we'll be on there'll be a massive battle and we'll be on the last legs of battle. Like I don't know. Nick will turn into the
monster
beast, his beast, and then he'll be like, and then there'll be a thing between him and Zoya where she'll go, no, Nick, don't do it. And he'll like, I have to.
Oh my God.
The good of my kingdom. And she'll go, Nick, yes, you do you, I'll do me. We're both going to sacrifice
ourselves. And then they're both going to fly in. Oh my God, and we're going to die.
And then Nina is going to go, bang. You cold?
She'll be like, surprise,
Here's
bitch.
my army, bitch. And all these like women are going to be like, and they're going to come in and like fuck shit up.
Oh.
And it's going to be sick. I feel like there's going to be some... And then, sorry, I was getting carried away there. But then I also think that the Darkling, I think they're going to have to make some deal with the Darkling.
Yeah, I think there's going to be some like, we need an alliance for now. Because he also loves Ravka.
We obviously think that the Darklings... I assume he's not coming back full powers. No. He's going to be weakened. So maybe he won't be able to help enough to, like, sway the war, but he'll be helping. And then I think that Zoya's going to take her revenge and try and kill him because she hates him.
Yeah.
He ruined her life.
I think so.
I think that he's going to... If she, like, once and for all ends him with her sick new Grisha mega powers, that will give me serotonin... for the rest of my life.
Honestly, I think her and Genya will probably team up to trap the Darkling somehow. Because obviously Genya's got a chip on her shoulder about that too.
Yeah.
I reckon they're going to do some cool shit. And I think she's going to use the new power of the dragon that she's got.
Yeah, I hope that Genya and David are in it a bit more this time as well.
Give me them. They're so cute. I love them so much.
Yeah. Do we think... And we're not sure if Alina will come back.
Yeah, we're like, with the Darklings back, could Alina be like, oop, knocking on your door?
I don't know, because she just was like, I want a normal life.
Yeah, she doesn't have any...
normal life with my boring boyfriend from when I was 10. Ugh.
She doesn't have any powers anymore, does she? But she might come back just to, like, challenge him or something.
To psych him out.
Yeah, be like, hey, I'm here.
No... Yeah, now you said that, I forgot that she didn't have powers anymore.
Yeah, she gave them all to, like, all the sun summoner people.
Oh my God, she's so boring.
I feel like they haven't tapped into that enough, actually. The fact that she just gave powers to all these Oscarzatzia.
Yeah, and now we didn't really learn a lot about the sun summoner.
Like, I feel like that's going to have to play into it somehow.
Definitely.
They'd be talking about the like, apparats off somewhere.
The apparat.
Oh, the apparat. That's on my big list of hates. I hate the apparat. Yeah. He makes my skin crawl. And the voice they use on the audiobook is like so raspy. And
ew.
It literally sets my hairs on the back of my neck go like up when he talks.
Ew.
It almost sounds like, not to the extent, but it has like Gollum vibes.
Gollum.
Yeah, and he's like, And he always like moans her name. It's really weird. It's like Sancta Alina, and I'm like, fuck off! I'm literally gonna kill you.
Sancta Alina.
He's so weird. And Alina's like the apparat.
That sounded like, you know, the pigs from Shrek. Sancta Alina, yeah.
He actually has that kind of accent, just more raspy.
That's so funny.
The accents in the audiobook kill me off because they're so European and it's so funny.
Yeah.
Obviously that's where it's based on. Like
Sweden.
well, Zoya's very like Russian, but obviously she would be. But
sorry, it's so funny.
We've been recording too long. We're like, this is our fan cast of the apparat, and it's the pig from Shrek.
Oh god.
Oh my god.
Fancast Mal. The gingerbread band.
Oh my god.
Lord Farquaad.
Yeah, literally Lord Farquaad. No, Mal would be like a Prince Charming.
Oh my god, Mal would be charming. Let's not do this.
Not us casting Shrek as Grisha characters.
I'm crying. Sorry. That's so funny.
Zoya is the dragon.
Nick's the donkey.
Oh my god.
This is satanic.
It's just, you know, the scene when Fiona is like hovering in the air with like light shining out her. That's Alina.
Oh my god. Fairy godmother is Genya.
Oh my gosh, yeah, true. Okay, we need to stop fan casting with the cast of Shrek.
We're not freaking cutting that out. That's so funny.
Although we don't even have to fan cast because there is an actual show coming.
Yes! Oh my god, I'm so excited for the Netflix adaptation. And you know what? We've just recently watched Winx, and that was the worst adaptation I've ever seen of anything in my entire life. But you know what? For some reason, I have a lot of trust in Netflix that they're going to do a good job of this.
So do I.
Don't ask me why. I think it's because they really, 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 really did me a favour and cast Ben Barnes as the Darkling. Could you think of anybody else more perfect? No. The answer is no. And if you say you think you can find someone more perfect, you're a liar. Because he is the most perfect Darkling.
He literally is the Darkling. Like, I'm ready.
I'm sorry, we don't even have a trailer, but him saying...
what was it? I can show you things, or we can do things together, something like that.
No. You and me going to
You and me were
going
to change the world. Oh.
I mean, tattoo it, inject it into my bloodstream, please. I'm so excited.
Yeah, we had a look at the cast on a call. I'm not sure about Matthias.
Oh my god, we looked at Matthias and we were like, why is he so old?
Yeah. He might surprise us. We might fall in love.
But you know what? We'll be like, racking this guy to shit now, and then we'll watch it and we'll be like, wow, best one.
We'll be like, here's my fan Instagram for Matthias in the show. We're really confused
TikTok fan cams.
Who the musician is, who's in 5 episodes out of 8.
There's a musician in 5 episodes of 8, which is more than Matthias, which is more than David, which is more than
Zoya.
The more who is this guy?
Yeah, who is this musician? Oh, yeah. I'm curious to see how it goes, and I'm excited because like it's got such potential to be such like a big fandom thing and like so well received because the work is there in the books. Like they are solid stories, and I'm like, come on.
Yeah. So obviously with the show, they're doing it a bit differently. They're combining Shadow and Bone and Six of Crows, but I don't think we're following the story of Six of Crows. We're learning about the characters. We're learning about the dregs before the events of Six of Crows, so it's happening simultaneously. So like we said earlier, Six of Crows happens later on after the events of the Grisha,
it's like a year
the Shadow and Bone.
Yeah.
So we're seeing what's happening simultaneously to what is happening in Ravka at the time of Alina being Sancta Alina. I could be wrong.
No, I think that is because that's why they haven't cast Wylan.
Yes.
Because obviously he at the beginning, well, I'm assuming how they'll do it is because he gets chucked out at the beginning of Six of Crows, basically.
Yeah. And like Matthias is only in one episode, and
yeah, so they'll just they'll probably have him capturing Nina because Nina's not in much, I don't think.
No, she isn't.
So they'll probably have, because she was obviously with Zoya training when she got captured by Matthias, so they'll probably do that bit, I guess.
She got captured by Matthias?
Yeah, Nina got captured by Matthias. That's like that's how they met, because she was in the cage on the boat. Because she goes up to them.
Oh fuck! Sorry, that's stupid of me. Of course, we spoke about this earlier.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. For some reason, I thought that they met for the first time when they did the. I don't know why I thought that. Sorry, no, that makes sense.
Yeah, no, because
because obviously the whole tent thing.
Yeah.
Christ, stupid.
And because she stays in.
You know what? When I spoke about the tent, I thought, when does that happen? I was like, when are they alone together?
No, it's flashback.
Because when they're in Fjerda, stupid twat. Oh, how did I not know that? That's funny. I've just spoke about the series for the whole like nearly an hour and a half now, and fucking didn't even know.
Well, it's pretty fresh in my mind. I feel like it will fade into one story, but because he captures her and then their boat sinks, and then they trek across Fjerda, and that's when they have the steamy hut with all the fur. So I think it'll be interesting. But I feel like they've made a good decision having Kaz in it, because I feel like his story arc, even if it's just him like doing Dreg stuff or setting up the Dregs, will get people interested, because again it has that kind of Peaky Blinders vibe.
Oh my god, it's gonna be so good. You know, if we're showing because when we meet Kaz, he's already got his reputation, but if we see him like develop his reputation, that will just be even better. And the guy that they've cast as Kaz is perfect.
Literally perfect.
Holy shit. Like, I'm already excited.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how it goes.
And we're gonna like see Wylan.
And
not Wylan, Jesper. Sorry,
Jesper. Yeah, we will. I'm sure when it comes out, we'll probably do a review episode.
I mean, do you not want to do Grisha React?
Grisha Reacts.
Hopefully I'll be doing some Grisha Reacts on our stories on Instagram.
Yeah, we'll be sure to keep you
YABasic
updated.
Podcast.
Yeah, come and join us. We're going to start. We are aiming to post more, and we love hearing from you guys and chatting. And let us know who your favorite character is in Grisha. We'll probably do a post when we put this up, and we can have a chat.
Yeah, we hope that you enjoyed this more focused episode on like an actual series. I think we want to do this more with some of the series.
Definitely.
So if there's any other series that you want us to talk about, do you know if it's even something we haven't read yet? We'd be more than happy to read it and then do because then it's fresh in both of our minds, and I feel like we can do
a
better
proper
discussion
react.
on it.
Yeah,
and I really enjoyed this episode, like talking about it and getting all my emotions out.
Me too.
Getting excited for the show again. I'm really looking forward to it now. I'm so glad that you read it and enjoyed it.
I loved it so much. And I love doing this episode because it just feels like chatting with a friend. So I hope you enjoyed us kind of letting our fandom out.
And if you haven't read the Grisha books and you've listened to this whole podcast and you've spoiled the whole thing for yourselves, still pick up the books. I mean, we didn't do a very good job at explaining everything because we assumed that you would know, but
there's
go off and read the books.
Many twists that we have not gone into. Oh my gosh.
Yes. But we will. I think that's the end.
Yeah, this is the end of the episode. We're glad you've spent this time with us, and we will be seeing you next month for regularly scheduled content.
At a normal time in the month. This is just an extra one because we let you down in December and we didn't get around to filming. But recording, not even filming on one today. But yes, we hope you enjoyed.
Yeah.
And we will see you next month.
Yeah, stay safe, everyone.
No mourners, no funerals.
No mourners,
Peace out.
no funerals. Bye.
Bye.